Sarah Carr here with the Limerick Post Show, and I am joined today by Director Joan Sheehy. How are you keeping?
Very well, very busy, very well.
Good, busy. So we're here today, of course, to talk about the production of Mary Lavin's In the Middle of the Fields, which you are directing. Do you want to tell us, to get started, a bit about the premise of the story?
Okay, it's a short story. It's one of Mary Lavin's most well-known stories. It's set in the 60s and it's set on a farm. And it's about a young widow who is trying to run her farm in an independent way. And she has an older man who works with her. And you imagine has probably been with the family for a long time. And they bring this man in to cut the grass. They want the grass topped, like it's sort of at this time of year. And she particularly wants it done. So they ask this man to do it, and he comes, and then while he's there, the man, Bartley, he remembers that there was a field on this farm where he used to court his first wife. And it's that kind of memory that changes the way the story goes. So later that night, Bartley comes back to the house to kind of rearrange the day he's going to come and cut the grass. And I'm sure we all know the pain of that. Like, you want someone to come and fix something or do something or fix the roof or whatever, or cut the grass, and then they come, well, I was supposed to come in the morning, but now I think it would be better if I came in 3 days now. So like there's a great scene where she takes him on and sort of says, well, you're putting someone else before me. And he says, oh, no. And there's no need for that grass to be cut at this time. And she says, no, actually it has to be cut. So that's all very exciting. And then something happens between them. I suppose he makes a pass at her. And then you expect then you're thinking, was that his reasoning for coming up in the night all the time? Or has this just happened? He didn't mean it to happen. So that's what makes the story really intriguing, because people have different ideas about this. But then the way she reacts and then how the story plays out in the end is also not what you expect, so it kind of doesn't follow, oh, she gets outraged, brings the guards or something like that. It's nothing. It's so interesting in terms of people's emotions and that whole idea of, motive, did he mean this from the very beginning? Or is motive more nuanced than that? And, I suppose, Sarah, nowadays, everything is so black and white, and outrage is so, something happens and we immediately assume outrage. This shouldn't happen and this isn't the way. Whereas this, it's so interesting in terms of human behavior, because human behavior is complex. That's really what the story is about.
Very thought-provoking. So it sounds like a bit of a romance with a small twist to it.
Yeah, it's not romantic. No, it's a very rural story, but there's a couple of twists in it, and I do think you're left going, I wonder. And I've heard people, and I've discussed the story with people myself, who are going, no, he's this, and others saying, I'm not so, it was something that happened by chance, and this is the way he behaved afterwards. I love the story. I love the story because it's so rural, and I'm from a farm in County Limerick. So I love that part of it, and I love the fact that it's 3 characters, so dramatically that's very satisfying. Like you get to know these 3 people, even though it will be a short evening, it's about an hour long, but you really get to know these 3 people very well.
And of course, the play itself is taking place in a field out in Kilmallock, in an open tent. Yeah, I imagine that presented a lot of logistical challenges, did it?
It's presenting quite a few, as you can imagine. Originally, I always wanted to do it outside. I like doing work that has a context for the play, the story. And first I wanted to do it in a hay barn, but anyway, health and safety and insurance, and a few people thought didn't think that was a great idea. So it's one of these open-sided, like they're like pagoda-style tents. I mean, they're very beautiful, and the audience and the performers will be under that tent. So the audience will be sitting around, and like then there'll be the playing area in the middle, and that will be in this like really beautiful field in Kilmallock. So you have the old wall of Kilmallock behind us, and then in front of us there's grass and bushes and trees, and yet it's all in Kilmallock. Like it's beside the Super Value car park, so people can come and park their cars. Like you have all that access, and where the field that it's in, it's also it's a walkway. It's a public walkway in Kilmallock, the west wall walkway. But it's such a beautiful area. I think if we get this right, the tent and the seating, and then we have Paul Keoghan designing our lighting, like he's a bit of a master. I just think it's going to be, I hope that it'll be kind of a magical evening. Like we haven't been able to go out and like assemble in this sort of a way for so long. So that when people come, they go, oh, look at this. They may not even know this walkway, this field. And then they see the tent and the lights, and then it's a different way of experiencing a story. I just want that to be kind of welcome back. Like this is what live performance is like, which with that online can't do, and that there'll be the noises of the night around us and all of that. So yeah, now logistically, as you say, of course, all of these things, are troublesome in ways. It's funny, I kind of like that part of it. I like the fact that, okay, this is a problem now. So if we put the tent that way, it doesn't really fit. But what if we skew it this way or that way? And where do we get the chairs? And it's like this has been going on, all this planning has been going on for weeks, actually months. But just as you've kind of solved one problem or one issue, then something else pops up. But I like all that part, because you're putting all the elements together to make something that's different. So like when you're struggling with an element of the production, it's because no one has tried to do it this way before. So you have to see how you can be creative yourself about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique form of performance that I feel like we haven't seen a lot of. And then especially coming out of the pandemic, it's such a nice thing to have, since, we can't be indoors. It's like a nice twist on the normal way of presenting plays and performance. So I suppose such a big production, from finding the site to the cast to getting everything you needed. How long did it take for you to get to a place where you could perform live?
Well, we've been working, actually this is about a year, it's a year and a half has gone into this. A year and a half ago, we did a little bit of I did some development work with the cast and with the composer, Tom Lane, and Colin Dunn, the movement director. And then exactly this time last year, I was going around County Limerick looking for possible sites, because I needed to apply for funding. And you really need to have your idea very well formed and planned before you can apply for funding, and obviously they need to know that you know what you're about. So I mean, that practical side of it has been going on for a year, and once then I heard about the money, of course then there was a point when we couldn't travel, and all I wanted to do was get down to County Limerick, like, and see, because I live in Dublin, though I spend a good bit of time in Limerick whenever I can. I couldn't get back to Limerick then. I was thinking, wonder, that site was great and that site was great. So the moment then that we could travel again, I was up and down. But yeah, it's these projects are always, I'd say you could say a year and a half, 2 years in the planning. Not every day, not constantly, but
yeah, and I'd say definitely, given the year that we've had, it's probably put a halt on a lot of what you could have done in the past year in terms of getting towards a place where you can perform.
It has, just as, because I was about to I was acting in The May by Marina Carr. We were just about to embark on a big tour, and Limerick was one of our tour dates on it. And that was cancelled. It was our last day in the rehearsal room, and we were moving to Galway on the Monday. We heard everything was finished. I was a play I was hoping, going to be in Limerick, Red Army, about women who follow Munster rugby, and that, of course, was cancelled for that time, but will happen again. So it has been a great time to plan, actually. That is a good thing, that you have time for that. But then the last few months, like, my heart was in my mouth going, oh, maybe we won't be allowed to assemble at all. Will we be able to go ahead with this? But it appears as if everything can happen at the moment. Yeah.
So as the director, what are you hoping that people are going to take away from this performance and the story?
The main thing is, I hope that they get the weight of a great, they get the power of a great story. They go, that's very satisfying, that story. I want them, but I also want them to have this unique experience. When people, and I feel it myself, like when I go to see something and, whatever, the arrangement of the chairs is different, or you're outside or you're in a different space, that kind of excitement where very ordinary things seem so thrilling because you're not used to this in a theatre setting. Years ago, like when I did Pigtown with Island Theatre Company, and like the audience were all inside in the bell table, but the seating was taken out, so the audience felt like they were part of the action, and that really influences the way I think about theatre, and that's what I want them. Even though they will be at a safe distance and all of that, but at the same time, we're all in this world inside in the tent. So I want them to feel that they've experienced something unusual and something really theatrical. That's what I want them to experience, and something that I'm hoping as they walk home or drive home or whatever, that they'll be saying, what do you think about what happened there now? What do you think about his motive? I'd like people to be kind of debating as well. So yeah, they're the things I'd hope people would get from it.
Yeah, it's amazing to think as well the effect that interaction has on a performance, not just about, watching a performance and the actors, but how the audience engages with the performance as well. So
oh yeah, and I do feel that there is something when you bring people away from the regular, the traditional stage, and they sit in the darkness. When you bring them into a slightly different formation, it changes your relationship with the performers, and because the performers will be in the center, so sometimes one of them will be nearer to you, and you'll be able to see, oh, that's how her dress falls, or oh, look at his braces, those kind of detail, and I like that myself, and I think audiences, it's kind of it's a frisson of excitement, because everything is slightly different, and yet they're in a very safe environment, which is what I'd want as well.
So before I let you go, where can people go to find more information on the performance?
If they go to the Lime Tree website, they'll get information there, and that's where all our booking is through. And Lime Tree are so supportive of us and of this project. So Lime Tree, the Lime Tree website, the Lime Tree booking line for booking, it'll be on from the 7th of July to the 11th of July, that includes the 11th, the Sunday night. Also, our hashtag is, we're hashtag in the middle of the fields. I think, yeah, that's where you get more information.
Great. Well, thanks a million for coming on. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I've really enjoyed chatting to you.
I look forward to
I hope you get to see the show.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.